allies, enemies, and those yet unaligned. Howdy and welcome to another episode of Meta More Than You Bargained For. I am your humble host, Lynn Lawless. For those just joining us today, this is yet another podcast run by a person in a position of privilege, sharing their limited viewpoint on the issues of other people from the safety of my home. But what makes us different from other reading Reddit type podcasts is that we're going to be viewing everything through the lens of non-monogamy. My co-hosts will be everyone from those 70-year-olds that have been swinging since the 70s to Gen Zers who are just curious about how to have a threesome that doesn't suck. On the mic today, we have Deem. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are and where you are in your journey.
Hi, Lynn. Thanks for having me. I'm Deem, a trans woman living in Seattle and in the dead middle of the poly, kinky, queer, nerdy, neurodivergent Venn diagram. I've been technically solo poly for a decade now, but more often than not a serial monogamist in practice, so most of my perspective comes from the point of view of accepting and supporting my partner's dating while doing very little of it myself. I do hope to grow more into myself, though, and actually get to experience the full breadth of the polyamorous experience firsthand.
You recently started a new relationship, though, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's real cute.
Yeah, it's real cute.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to hear more. Seeing you in a good relationship is just fucking balm to the soul because I know some of what you've been through.
Yeah.
So, like, anytime I see you in a cute situation, I'm just cheering from the sidelines like, yeah, Deem!
I really appreciate that. And yeah, honestly, same. Not just for seeing myself in a cute situation, but just seeing you happy in yours is it brings joy to my life.
My partners are freaking cute too,
Yeah.
but we're not here to talk about me very much, just a little bit. Meta. This one's from the non-monogamy subreddit. Surprise, surprise. Our second attempt at non-monogamy, and I have lost all attraction to my wife, due in part to her choice of partner. I'm having an issue and I'm not sure how to address it. Last year, my wife Vicky of 4 years suggested that we try non-monogamy again. We were monogamish prior to marriage and while dating. Back when we first started dating, I wanted a relationship with her while she wanted to see other people. So we settled into a friends with benefits situation. I honestly thought we would burn out and eventually move on, but she wanted more from our relationship, and eventually other partners fell away, and we ended up dating semi-exclusively. Semi-exclusively because we did have some encounters together. FMF threesomes and me trying to be a GGG, I gave a MFM. GGG, what the fuck is GGG?
It means good, giving, and game.
Oh, good game. Whatever. Anyway, I gave an MFM a try. I quickly learned that I did not like seeing my significant other and another male having sex. It was, in fact, almost enough that we broke up. Her having sex with other people was tolerable if I didn't have to see or hear about it. As we became more serious with each other, all forms of non-monogamy holistically disappeared and we eventually got married. A few months ago, she said that before we get locked down with kids, she wanted us to try to see other people again. I wasn't thrilled with the prospect of opening up our relationship again, and the circumstances had changed drastically from when we were dating. When dating and non-monogamish, we weren't living together, so seeing other people was easier. But now we had to be concerned with where the dates would happen and the potential bleed through to our relationship. After a few months of, quite frankly, badgering, I agreed with some caveats. Safe sex, and I didn't want to know anything about her dating life. I also wanted her to start birth control again. She dove in quickly. NRE for her is overwhelming, and I had to remind her constantly that I didn't want to hear about the new guy. I did overhear her talking about how amazing Steven is. This caused me some issues, and I don't want anyone in our circle to know that we're not non-monogamous again. I really didn't want to know anything about this guy, including his name. As for myself, I wasn't really interested in meeting anyone and used the downtime to finish some projects and work on myself. A few months later, I met a woman. It became apparent to my wife that I was seeing someone because I wasn't around as much, so she started questioning me on who I was seeing. So I told her I had met someone, and her name is Julie, and that's where I left it. Over the following weeks, my wife would ask questions that I would not answer and could tell that she was getting frustrated with me. Soon after, she would become passive-aggressive and say things like, I don't know you like this brand of cereal. Do you like it because it's Julie's favorite? I bet Julie would like this, and etc. It became... yeah. I did my best to assure her that I loved her and I would be happy to return to monogamy, but I wasn't prepared to discuss my partners in any manner. But that meant her breaking up with Steven for good. She didn't want that, and she agreed to stifle her aggression. Then one day, Vicky just happened to run into Jules and I one night. What a coincidence! When alone, she wouldn't stop talking about Jules and how did we meet and how pretty she was and how serious was I about her and was I gonna leave her for Jules. And I gave her as much reassurance as I could, but she wouldn't stop making comments, which is why I just wanted that don't ask, don't tell. One night, my wife asked me if we could have a threesome with Jules. Ooh. I let my penis do the talking and asked Jules what she thought and if she thought it would be a good idea. So we arranged it for one night at our place. Jules arrived before dinner, we ate, relaxed, had some wine, and eventually Vicky made a move on Jules. One thing led to another. Things started progressing, but then there was a knock at the door. My wife jumped up and went to see who it was. Amazingly, it was Steven. Another coincidence. Apparently, Steven had gotten their date day mixed up. Boy, what a knucklehead. But seeing as Steven is here, what if we turn this into a foursome? No. I had had a hard enough time watching my wife and another guy have sex in front of me, and that guy was a gym rat. Steven is unkempt, overweight, and showed up to my house in sweatpants and a stretched t-shirt. He killed the mood instantly. I could tell Jules was having a what's going on moment herself and quickly got dressed and asked me if I wanted to head out. Jules had a million questions, including if I was setting her up and how my wife was attracted to him. We eventually carried on with the night, though. When I got home, there was a note saying, sorry, talk later. The coincidences were too much for me, so when I got home, I pressed her on them and she caved. She was obsessing over who I was seeing, so she put a tracker on my car and followed me, setting up the chance meeting. Steven showing up was also planned. Surprise. This combined with knowing that my wife has been having with a guy... What the fuck this guy is saying? My wife has been having sex with a human hedgehog has caused me to lose attraction to her. A human hedgehog. Okay, Sonic. She wants us to close the relationship and go to couples counseling, but I don't see that I will ever be able to look at her the same way again. I have literally zero attraction to her. She's like a stranger. Is this something that a therapist can help with, like regaining attraction to someone? Even if she didn't try and spy and manipulate me, I don't think I could regain attraction just based on the fact she found that guy attractive enough to have sex with. Any suggestions? I mean, has anyone ever lost attraction to a partner and then regained it? I know I'm a bit of an asshole for this, but this guy just isn't attractive, and I can't help but feel like she risked our marriage for this guy. Why does it seem like guys genuinely have a harder time in non-monogamy and don't seem to be better? What the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Asshole.
Seriously.
Like, you're allowed to not be attracted to your wife, whatever, but, like, what a way to be an asshole all the way down.
Yeah, just the constant body shaming is just so disgusting. And it's just like, hey, I see where you're coming from here. Your relationship definitely has problems, but could you stop being an asshole for 10 seconds so I can have some sympathy for you?
Right, like the FMF threesome was like an expected thing, but an MFM was him being a good and giving guy, so nice. Oh my God.
And only because he was a gym rat. That was the only reason he could justify someone sleeping with his wife.
Part of me wonders if this guy maybe has like some like closeted internalized like homophobia, because maybe not internalized homophobia, but like maybe he's a little closeted and like, you know, was actually attracted to the gym rat guy and, you know, now has this really intense like, yes, it's okay to find men attractive because I could see them. I don't know, like why does the guy that's having sex with your wife have to be attractive? Like, you're not fucking him. So I'm trying to figure out what the fuck his logic is.
I can sort of connect the logic in his head that, you know, he assumed because he's attractive, his wife's attracted to him because she has good taste. But if she's attracted to someone who he considers a schlub, a human hedgehog, well, then clearly she must have terrible taste. And what does that say about him?
Oh, maybe he's not attractive as he thinks he is. Gasp. Oh, no.
Maybe he's the echidna. Sorry, the Sonic joke.
I like, she said, or OP said, you know, human hedgehog, and I was just thinking of that really, really bad Sonic render. One of the comments here is, are you sure you lost attraction to her because of the guy, or is it because she was dishonest with you, illegally tracked you, purposefully damaged your other relationship, and disrespected your request for don't ask, don't tell, etc.? Guy cops out and says all of the above. Like, of course you're gonna say
Yeah.
all of the above.
He just really, really wants to hammer in place that he's more attractive than this dude. He just really wants everyone to know that, and that being clearly the most important thing, but also violations of trust and dishonesty and tracking and disrespecting boundaries. But mostly, this guy's just so ugly, I lost attraction to my wife. The rest of the stuff is immaterial.
Yeah, no, and if you this is what caused you to lose attraction to your wife, how attracted to your wife were you to begin with? How secure was that attraction, or was it just you've been with this person for so long, you just
Yeah, I think this whole idea, like they even mentioned that she wanted more in the relationship, which led to me like it was always all about she wanted to see other people, she wanted a friends with benefit situation, she wanted to get married. It really just feels like this guy's blaming her for literally everything that happened in the relationship.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, after
He
a few months
also
of quite frankly badgering, like really, that's how you phrase that, huh? That's
I
that's
mean,
that's really clearly putting the blame on her, huh?
yeah, but also to be fair, it also kind of shows how much she doesn't respect their boundaries. Like
Yep.
she badgered him over a no, she didn't accept a no,
Hmm.
and then like she didn't accept the don't ask, don't tell, only in the ways it suited her.
That, yeah, the first thing that stood out to me was it became apparent to my wife that I was seeing someone, so she started questioning me, since that's the exact opposite of don't ask, don't tell, which is what she had agreed to. Like, okay, about this guy's terrible body shaming aside, let's actually refer to this wife's horrible violation of boundaries, because woof.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, the double standards of wanting the OP to break up with his partner but not wanting to let go of her own was very frustrating to me, because like balance and reciprocity like kind of really matters.
Yeah.
But what really broke it down was interrupting their date. Like, it's clear the wife just doesn't give a shit about his boundaries, and that's just an absolute deal breaker. Like, the fact that the violations of privacy and consent are just icing on the cake there. Like,
This guy really did think with his dick, because things for me would have been over before the threesome was even mentioned. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like when she intruded on the date, I'm like, there's no fucking way. Like, and then when she suggested the threesome, I would have been so fucking suspicious, because I have seen people use threesomes to be so manipulative in so many
yeah.
different and creative ways. Ugh.
And just the tracking of his car
Mm-hmm.
is
It's
such a
just,
violation of trust. Like, any one of these would be enough, and they keep just stacking. But of course, this guy's only problem was with how fat the other guy was, right?
yeah, I think this is I know they didn't ask, am I the asshole? But I think everybody's an asshole except for maybe Jules in this
Yeah,
situation.
Jules seems like the innocent victim in all this.
Yeah. I do wonder if Steven was told that it was like a consensual foursome, or if Steven was in on the like, ooh, let's surprise him. It'll be great.
I wonder
That
about
can't go
that too,
badly.
because I can kind of see, like, if this woman is so bad about boundaries and communicating consent, that she would rope this poor guy Steven into it too.
Okay, just to make sure we answer OP's questions here, they asked if this is something a therapist can help with, if we have any suggestions, or if anybody who's lost attraction to a partner and regained it. So personally, maybe a therapist can help. It really depends on what the underlying issue is here, and it doesn't seem like your OP is super willing to look deeper on the issue.
Yeah,
Just wants to kind of base it on, oh, she's attracted to this guy, so I'm not attracted to her anymore.
yeah.
uh I personally haven't lost attraction and then come back, because it takes me so long to build attraction to someone
The Demi issue,
that
yeah.
yeah, I'm so demi that I'm like, yes, I love this person. Wait a minute, nope, 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 nope,
Yeah.
nope. um and like it's never like a physical thing for me. I guess it's some degree physical, but like if I find out their personality's rotten, I can't find them attractive again.
That's, yes. The prettiest asshole is still an asshole. Like, it, you can't be attractive and be a terrible person. Like, that, it poisons the well.
Yeah. I don't have enough of a sex drive to desire having sex with shitty people. I'd rather have sex with awesome people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, go see a therapist, but maybe not just for this. Maybe your relationship isn't the thing you should be going to therapy about.
Yeah, like, hey, it's couples therapy for the violations of trust and boundaries and consent, and personal therapy for your body image issues.
Yeah, and his ego and everything. Everything, everything.
All sorts of shit.
All right. This next story, unless you have anything else you'd
Nope.
like to say. All right, cool. The title is simply Nesting Partner Constantly Upset. Using a throwaway because I have friends and family on my other account. Been with my nesting partner, 34 male, for almost 4 years. We don't have any kids together, although I, 39F, have 2 from a previous marriage. We live in my home. I have been poly my entire life. Nesting partner was more ethical non-monogamy until about June of this year, when he had made some questionable dating choices, scared himself, and decided ethical non-monogamy wasn't his thing. We also, in the past, would have relationships with women together. Those relationships often started as poly and evolved into a triad organically. I do have a little question about their definitions here.
Yeah, sus.
Going from poly to triad. I mean, triad can be part of poly, triad can be part of E&M. I don't know. But it's interesting the way that people will define things differently all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I have been seeing a new partner, and I will call him S. He's 34 male as well. All right, so they've been seeing S solo for about 2.5 months, and they were friends for years before. About 3 years ago, it was S's best friend's birthday. We met him at a local bar and had a few drinks, and then we went out to S's house. I wasn't thinking and posted a picture of S and his best friend on my Snap story. 2 days later, nesting partner started to get very angry, said he saw it and that it was upsetting. I said I didn't realize and I wouldn't do it again. The next night, S calls me on his way home from work, as he's done for months, and all 3 of us are chatting. We're joking, they're picking on me, etc. A few days later, nesting partner mentions again he isn't happy about the picture. I said there had to be more to this than that. He said he's worried that I'm going to leave him for S, that he's unhappy with the fact that my house is missing features he wanted, that he's unhappy that we don't have more money, which, you know, I got a $5 raise and amazing benefits and retirement, room for advances, but, you know, that doesn't matter. Anyway, and that my son is lazy, yada, yada, yada. Since we moved in December, nesting partner has been depressed. I didn't force him to move. I gave him the choice, and he chose to come with me. He's been hot and cold, not wanting to touch me for days on end, and then love bombing me. I asked him why he was okay when we were with women, but seemingly not okay that I'm with a man.
Yeah.
His answer was it was for both of us, which I feel is a disgusting and controlling answer.
Gross.
I said I wasn't going to change myself to make him comfortable, but I am willing to change some things to keep the peace. I said I'd ask if it was okay for S to call when he was in the room. Nesting partner said that him calling wasn't an issue. He likes speaking with S on occasion. S and I also never speak graphically when nesting partner is around, and we don't say I love you, etc. It's either work-related because we work together, or just random stuff about our days. I said I would spend one dedicated night with S. He said I'm my own person, but I can do as I please.
Oh, come on.
I said I wouldn't post pictures of us together, and if it was a group thing like when S and I go out with friends, I will not be tagged. Nesting partner said again that it isn't an issue. I don't understand what the issue is then, me either. I'm willing to compromise, but nesting partner doesn't get to veto my choices because my choices are male. Some other things to know. Nesting partner is having 2 emotional relationships. He's speaking with 2 people out of state, 1 female and 1 AMAB. They flirt, sex, send kinky memes. Last night, he sent the female, human, good night, my love. And when he asked me if I loved S and I said yes, he got very upset. I feel stuck. I feel like nesting partner has been halfway out the door for months, and he's just biding his time till he can find a new home. I rent from my parents $180 a month. I pay all the bills myself, power $182, both mine and my son's phone, internet trash, yada, yada, yada. But when I ask him for help, he sends me $50 to $100. He would rather spend money on beer or his hobby, which is $250 track days, than helping me keep the home going. I feel like this isn't healthy, but I need insight from those who aren't directly involved. No, it's not. It's not healthy.
Nope.
No. Also, please don't date your coworker. I know it's already too late right now, but please don't. No, that's not good.
It's a bad idea.
Oh God. Do you want to take the lead on this one?
Okay, yeah. So the depression part jumped out at me, and it complicates things. You want to be there for someone, but it's very easy to be pulled down when trying to keep someone from drowning, and depression doesn't know boundaries or limits. It just takes. So it's important that you set your own boundaries for what you're willing to do and for how long, and to have the courage and consistency to leave once those limits have actually been reached. I also want to point out that the always upset partner is a method of control. If you bring up issues that bother you when he's feeling good, you've ruined the mood. If you do it when he's feeling bad, you're kicking him while he's down. Either way, he can yell at you for having shitty timing, undercutting whatever it is you're actually trying to address. He's training you to just keep your problems to yourself while he fills all the space with his own problems just because it's too much of a hassle to do otherwise.
Have you had personal experience with this?
Yes. As my therapist put it, holding them emotionally hostage. You just get trained that it's easier just not to say anything rather than to deal with the hassle of getting around the whole, why did you deliberately pick such hurtful timing? And why would you treat me so cruelly when I'm just trying to, when I'm having a good day or when I'm already feeling bad? Sorry, I'm losing the thread here.
No, you're good. Like, it's so fucking true though, because they kind of keep you in this space of feeling like you can't bring things up, and then you will accidentally like waterfall out all the things you've been holding in when you do get in a fight, and then it turns into the like, oh, why have you been holding so much back? Why haven't you been giving me a chance to fix things? Holding you emotionally hostage is such a good fucking phrase.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, like the always upset partner will kind of overly be upset about things that they don't need to be upset about when they want to not get into conflict.
Yeah.
I don't know how to better word that. But like they'll be upset about little tiny things.
Yeah. Deliberately venting about things that aren't even that upsetting just to make sure that the mood is bad.
Yes. Thank you for putting that in better words than me, because yes, it's so frustrating. And I don't think that nesting partners seem super committed to this relationship overall. I mean, spending $250 on track days, but only sending $50 to $100 to help contribute to like where you live.
Yeah.
It just reeks of someone who is using their nesting partner for a safe place to land while they figure out what they want instead.
Yeah.
And like OP isn't faultless. I think there's some like almost subtle transphobia going on with the fact that they are like
they had to specify,
one AMAB person
like what the
got
fuck?
the female a collar.
Yeah. And completely invalidating the idea that online relationships are real. Since they never met these people in person.
Yeah, and you can have a sexual relationship without ever putting your hands on someone.
Yeah. The OP's being an asshole here as now as matching the other one, because they really are just completely invalidating the idea that this guy can even have relationships with other people. It's like, oh, it's a weird emotional thing. A female and an AMAB.
Female.
Oh, no.
Yeah, every time I read that, especially like in a context like this where they take the time to like AMAB someone.
Yeah.
We don't need to know what their gender was assigned at birth. We don't give no shits. What do they identify as? Shut the fuck up.
It's just misgendering with extra steps.
It is. It's misgendering with extra steps. Oh my God.
Yeah. So yeah, again, the OP is also an asshole. But and like saying that he loves the other partner and then like asking if OP feels the same way about their partner and getting upset when they say yes. Like, why would that upset you if they're doing the same thing you are?
Oh my gosh. And then another part when they were negotiating, like, or when OP was trying to negotiate, and then nesting partners swapped it to you're your own person. You can do whatever you want.
Oh,
I
God.
hate that. It's such a fucking trap. It's
Yeah.
a trap, and it's like, it's avoiding having any kind of impact on the discussion that's happening, so that no matter what happens, you can be pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Because when you're not giving any opinion, you're leaving yourself open to be pissed off about anything.
You do what you want.
It's not an issue. Do what you please. Obviously, it is an issue if I've been being my own person, doing as I please, and we're in this situation right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so anti to the communication that needs to be happening here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me see if there's anything interesting in the comments since last time. Not really. But yeah, it really just does sound like OP, is kind of living their own life. They wanted to move somewhere, amazing benefits, yada, yada. And nesting partners kind of just like, well, there goes my meal ticket. There goes my couch to live on, kind of attitude, and like is now resenting. Because I do kind of wonder how much NP is like complaining about everything to their other partners, because it does kind of give that vibe.
Yeah. It seems like the guy doesn't have a lot to offer or a lot going on. And so
and OP like making effort to, bring S into talking with nesting partner and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like OP's made much effort to hang out with the female and the AMAB.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that's the guy going like, I want to keep my one penis policy separate, and how much is the original poster being like, oh yeah, he sometimes does the same things, but I don't care because they're not real relationships, and one of them's an AMAB. Like,
yeah.
Girl, you're really sinking my sympathy for you here.
What I come back to, though, is in the beginning when they say more E&M than poly, and started out poly but evolved into a triad.
Sus.
I just feel like there's a lot of miscommunication that's going on because I don't think they're communicating well.
Yeah.
And that's like from the top down causing issues. Like it could be so easy to have miscommunications and stuff like that when you're both, quote E&M, but that means different things to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. My boyfriend and his wife have been poly for years, but I'm still new to it. The wife is really amazing, and I admire their relationship. However, the majority of the time we've been together, a year, my boyfriend and I have spent most of our time alone, so she and I haven't gotten to know each other closely. It matters to me not to feel like a side piece, and they both support including me in their life, including telling their family and friends about me, though I haven't met them yet. They're planning a celebration for wife, and initially I was invited, even expected to be attending. When she found out a close friend was also attending, one that didn't know about their poly lifestyle, she became concerned about the friend's opinion, and as politely as they could, I was uninvited, though with a possibility I could attend as a friend rather than a partner. I was okay with that. They live hours from me, and I made plans to stay with a good friend in a town nearby so that I could celebrate with the wife, but not expecting to stay at their place. Anxiety is mean, and wife said that she didn't want me to attend at all, lest the friend find out and be uncomfortable. Boyfriend said he would slip away and come visit me at my friend's place instead. It is a 3-day thing, the primary party being the day before I'm there, and I agreed with all that. More anxiety, they agreed he wouldn't come to see me at all because someone might ask or even guess where he had gone, and that friend would find out.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Is she Gretchen? Who is she? What is this lady? Like, why is she so important? Why is her opinion so important?
Yeah. And
Anyway,
just the
is she
possibility of her guessing. Sorry.
Is she your deacon?
Yeah.
All right, I'd been flexible with every change they needed, but this part really hurt. It feels so different from going to agreeing, to me coming, to simply not explaining who I was, to needing to be so hidden that any situation might result in someone asking where he had gone was now a threat. I felt like my flexibility became a slippery slope to finding out that I'm no longer comfortable being that flexible. Healthy boundaries are not my superpower. I know that there was no malice from either of them, and it is absolutely wife's celebration. I value that she cares about her friend being comfortable. I even see where her anxiety was convincing her that the changes to the plan needed to be made. You're more understanding than I am.
Yeah.
I never want to be a problem between them, but I find myself in this situation where I feel very hurt. I feel I can't be honest with about my feelings to my boyfriend because I feel it would likely cause a problem between them. He's very sensitive to my feelings and keeps asking if I'm okay, though. I don't want to cause drama or take away from her celebration, and trying to attend to my feelings would certainly take his attention away from his wife and the party. So the situation has brought on some real reflection on how to navigate these situations and some pretty real discomfort around being in a relationship with someone that has a primary public main partner. I don't have a nesting partner of my own, though I do have another boyfriend. Is it right to lie to my boyfriend and tell him I'm okay with the situation in order to not create an argument between them or to take away from wife's celebration? Where is the balance of being true to my relationship with my boyfriend and being honest with myself versus respecting their relationship and not wanting to create waves for them? Please guide me, experienced friends, and sorry for rambling. Oh! Like, I don't understand. Okay, part of me wonders if they're actually that open with everyone.
Yeah. I mean, the friends that they supposedly told him about, she's never met.
Yeah. It feels like there's so much going on because this much change over one person.
Yeah.
It feels like that person has to be super fucking important in the life of wife. Like, I don't know, maybe their boss or something.
But even then, this guy could be the fucking Pope and just saying, oh, where's my husband going off to? He's visiting a friend who couldn't make it here. Why is this mystery person's opinion so dramatically important? You have to kick them out. And honestly, I have the feeling that this person wouldn't actually give a shit, and the wife is just using this as an excuse to have just ramp up her own anxieties and like kick the girlfriend out of the picture.
Yeah, see how far she can push her out. And, maybe also there's a chance that, like, they have been open with these friends and stuff like that, but kind of like, yeah, this is our fling. This is,
Yeah.
this is my boyfriend's little fun toy, yada, yada.
They did say it was one person, though. It says with one person who showed up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that maybe their friends will make it sound vulgar to this person if it's like a morality thing. Yeah. Like if they're church related or something like that. Like I keep going back to church and like purity culture for some reason.
Can't imagine why.
Like that's the only time I've seen people like go this hard. You know what I mean? Like it's usually like someone that has some kind of sway in their life, and a lot of times it's religious sway because that's what causes these intense like, oh nope, our secret, dirty little secret has to be bundled away.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
So I would say that OP, needs to have this conversation.
Yeah.
You can tell your boyfriend, I'm not okay with this, but I would like to hold off the conversation until after your celebration.
He already knows that something is wrong. He keeps asking if something wrong. You can just say, yeah, it isn't okay, but we can talk about it after the party.
Yeah, you can say things aren't okay. I'm not breaking up with you. Please enjoy the time. Like, I don't know, like, how different people take it, but, like, I'm always kind of, like, worried that I'm going to get dumped over the smallest thing. So, like, being like, I am upset, but it's not something that I'm going to leave you over. We're okay. Yeah. We're going to work through it. But right now is not the time for us to be working on our thing.
Exactly. Right now, your wife's 3-day birthday party is the priority.
Yeah. And, okay, wild having a multi-day party. Maybe it's like some kind of, I don't know, like big number, like a 40th birthday or something like that.
Can I get a 3-day party for my 40th birthday?
Yeah, let's make that fucking happen.
Hell yeah.
But, where was I saying?
So the part where it says, I feel I can't be honest with my feelings is a real red flag. Mm-hmm. Relationships cannot work if you don't feel comfortable or safe bringing up issues because you're afraid of upsetting your partner or worse, their partner. It's very much a do as I say, not as I do topic for me since I'm terribly conflict avoidant. But it does at least mean I know what I'm saying when I say it's a bad thing.
Yeah. You need to have the space to be a full and complete person. Yeah. In each of your relationships. That's dating, that's friendship, that's, whatever it is that you're choosing to bring in your life. Obviously, you can't be your full and complete self around your boss, yada. But these relationships that you're choosing to foster in your life need to be ones where you can be your truest self. And this, goes for like neurodivergent people and masking, but that even just goes into like the most simple place here of being okay mentioning uncomfortable feelings and having uncomfortable conversations.
Exactly. Feel safe to have the space to bring up issues that are important to you. Because if you don't, then they'll never be addressed. They'll just build resentment and then it'll just explode.
And like, if you don't bring them up, people can always do the, well, why did you never tell me about this? And it's, valid. Why didn't you?
Yeah. And again, it's up to the boyfriend, the hinge, to manage the relationship between them. I mean, the girlfriend should, like the original poster should mention this, and it kind of is up to the boyfriend to be like, hey, wife, this is kind of bullshit, and we should talk about this, and not just being like, well, wife, girlfriend said this, oh, girlfriend, wife said this, and back and forth, and just not contributing anything to the conversation.
And so, like, there's also the part about, like, it would cause a problem between them. That's a hinge issue. Yeah. You need to be able to trust that your hinge is going to act with the same discretion that you are trying to and the same respect that you are trying to. Because if your hinge then starts giving his wife the stank eye or whatever on your behalf, he's not actually doing you any favors.
Nope.
He is just fostering wife's further, resentment towards you. Exactly. If he's not willing to be mature in this situation, I mean, of course you wouldn't feel safe.
It's just, again, do as I say, not as I do. It's, you have to talk about when things actually bother you, even if it might cause a problem. Trust that the boyfriend can handle things in a mature and respectful way to all parties involved. But not telling him about how you feel won't even give him the opportunity to do so. Especially when he already knows you're upset.
Would you like to move on to our next one, or did you have further feelings about this one?
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So my 22F boyfriend, 32M, wants me to move in with him and pay half of all of our expenses. All right. So my boyfriend and I have been dating a little over 2 years. We both currently are in the same city, but living separately. I'm graduating from college in a few weeks and planning to start applying for graduate schools. Currently, I do not have any employment, nor do I plan on making any money in the next few years. Luckily, my family is able to support me through graduate school and pay my expenses.
Nice.
My boyfriend currently makes around $300,000 a year and just received a job offer in a city across the country that would pay him over $500,000 a year after bonuses. He wants me to move with him to this new city. I'm fine with the idea of moving there, even though it's not my first choice of places to live. I could probably attend a graduate school there. The only issue is that he wants me to pay half the rent and half of all of our expenses. This would equate to about $2,500 a month. My family is capable of providing me with this money, but we are not exactly exorbitantly wealthy, so it is a lot of money for us. My family also thinks it's really unreasonable for my boyfriend to ask me to pay these expenses when he makes enough money to support both of us easily. My boyfriend thinks it's completely reasonable for my family to pay these expenses for me.
Yeah, absolutely the hell not. If you're splitting expenses, do it proportionally to both income and other burdens. If I make 3 times what you do, you pay a third what I do. If you make the same amount, but you're also taking care of a family member, I expect you to pay a bit less. And that applies expenses to like restaurants. Like that's restaurants or hobbies, much less rent.
Yeah, if you're basing a 50-50 on anything, it needs to be on what the lowest like person can afford. It doesn't need to be on like what the person can afford the most, you know?
Yeah. And just because their family could pay for it doesn't mean that he makes more than probably the entire family combined, and it's just an absolute shithole for asking them to pay half.
Sounds like the boyfriend knows how he's going to stay rich.
Yeah. And honestly, just saying he works for a hedge fund was already a red flag. Hedge funds are inherently evil at this point. Asking for the unemployed partner to pay rent for moving across the country with you is just confirmation that he's a bad person.
Yeah, like I want you to pick up and leave this place, you know, with no real benefit to you. It sounds like moving away from their family potentially as well.
Let's isolate you some more. How's that work?
There is an update. The OP says, thanks for all the replies, everyone. One thing that I left out in the original post is that I already decided prior to making the post that I was not going to stay with my boyfriend because it is obvious that our view on finances were incompatible. I also know my worth and know that I can find someone who will treat me a lot better. I was curious to see what others thought, and I'm pleased that most of you have validated my feelings. Good for OP. I'm glad that they were fucking already decided before coming here.
Yeah.
Because I almost feel like when you come and make a post, you're kind of already decided and just wanting affirmation, whether you're willing to admit that or not.
Exactly.
And so being big enough to admit that you kind of know what you want and what you don't want and like are navigating spaces with that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're checking yourself rather than like secretly validating yourself. I don't know. I just feel that's big. Very bigly. It sounds like you're already bigger than boyfriend. Wait, and also 32. He's 10 years older than her. Yo.
Yeah. Like that's technically in the just barely in the half your age plus 7 range, but it's
no.
Yeah, I just don't think someone who's 22 should be dating someone in their early 30s. Like, no. It's sketch.
No matter how mature you are at a completely different point in your life than that person is, and there's going to be power imbalances, even like the subtle ones where they're like, "Oh, well, just let me handle this for you since you've never had to do it," and then they keep you from learning essential skills by doing things for you and making you more and more reliant on them over time.
Not to mention they dated for 2 years, so this is since they were 20 and he was 30.
Ooh. Also, why doesn't a woman his age want him, honey? Why not?
Yeah.
What are they seeing that you are, rose-colored glasses seeing your way past?
Yeah. Now, honestly, the power imbalance is a big issue, regardless of the age. When someone's making $500,000 and you're planning on being broke for like years.
At the end of this, it says, after I told my boyfriend that I was breaking up with him, he changed his tune and said he didn't want me to pay my expenses. Sorry, that he would actually pay me a monthly allowance to live with him.
Oh.
But by that point, it was too late, and I decided we're going to go our separate ways. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. He wanted to see what he could get away with.
Yeah, he works at a hedge fund, which is just inherently a bad person. But then to just extend that into your personal life, to be like, how much can I milk this completely undeserving person's family for money so I don't have to spend it, is a very rich fuck thing to do. And then being like, oh, I'll pay you an allowance like you're a child or a live-in maid.
Mm-hmm.
just chain you up to my stove while I'm at it. Like, good Lord, it's gross.
I hope you're paying her the wages of a sex worker and a maid and a cook and whatever else you
Yeah,
expect her to
pay
do.
like you honestly, if you're making $500,000 a year, pay her $100,000 a year. Let her see if that's actually worth the lifestyle.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the extra $200,000? You couldn't just do with $100,000. Pay her $100,000 and see. Like shit, I may move
Yeah.
in. Come on, let's make this
Make it
work,
so that,
dude.
her parents don't have to take care of anything anymore. Make it so
Yeah,
that you are really like stepping up here instead of continuing to just see what you can get out of her, see what you can wring out of her family.
exactly.
No, no, no. All right. Anything else before I move on to our final bit?
Go for it.
All right. So at the end of our show, I like to wrap things up in a little bow. This can be either a multi-part adventure that has a satisfying resolution, or just a little bit of wholesome part.
Whoresomeness.
Yep. Whoresomeness. Just a bit of whoresomeness. Yep. That's my brand. Having a good night, everyone. That's all you need. Bye. Anyway, so this one is more meant to be like kind of a wholesome little conversation starter for all of you and some like little comments that I enjoyed under this topic. So the question is, what are some examples of healthy boundaries in a relationship? The OP clarifies that this could be a romantic relationship, but also a familial relationship, friendship as well. And this comes from the Ask Women subreddit. So before I get into this, what are some examples of healthy boundaries in a relationship to you, Deem?
Oh, communication is huge, and especially being able to be vulnerable. A lot of the stuff we've talked about are like control tactics and manipulation tactics, and just the opposite of that is like listening and like asking before you do things and checking to see if someone is like genuinely okay and giving space for them to not be okay. It's like being able to say, hey, I feel anxious about something, and it's not a value judgment or doubts about the relationship or anything about you. And having that be met with like acceptance and like a willingness to reciprocate, it's really refreshing. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And also just and just like the first thing in the comments is having a life outside of your relationship. Like I
Mm-hmm.
joined a queer martial arts group, which is very satisfying and enjoyable for me. My new partner thought that was awesome and found another gym instead of trying to join mine. I'm like, I'm not saying you can't join. If they'd asked, I would have welcomed it, would have been fine. But just the idea of being like, hey, you have this thing that's really important to you and that sounds great. But rather than dive into it myself, I'm going to look and find something that's similar for me. And that way, if we break up, we don't have to divide a gym. It can just be a thing that we both continue to do separately. That's nice. It's
Yeah,
a
that is
thoughtful
such a
thing.
good way to share an interest. Because that shows actual interest in the interest rather than like people pleasing.
Exactly. I'm not just doing this because, I expect to be around my partner all the time and that's where you are, so I'm there. It's like, no, you're doing this literally because you thought it was a cool idea and you found a different way of doing the same. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, like it's always, it's very sweet when someone's like, oh, I would love to go do that with you
It
sometime.
is. It is
You
sweet.
know, it's emotionally intelligent and it's wise to me to be like, oh, I would love to try that. Let me go try this over here
Hmm.
so that we can then have the experience of like getting to talk about this thing and
Yeah.
all of the experiences and yada yada and like that sort of building of a foundation of interest.
Hmm.
But like you instead of you have more to talk about rather than just inside experiences and inside jokes and stuff like that. It feels so much more growth oriented.
And also just the one, it's staying off the relationship escalator. It's not assuming that now we're dating, let's enmesh every part of our lives together. It's being thoughtful and deliberate about the things you do share, either like that you share in your history or things that you share in like your current life. Like it's actually considering like things like pacing and being like, hey, we both have anxiety about NRE. Maybe we should take things deliberately slowly. Being considered and being thoughtful and like actually communicating things and rewarding the behaviors you want to see is it makes me feel a lot more comfortable being able to be honest, because it's not that that's not a conflict I have to avoid. It's just like something that I can trust will actually be listened to and received.
Yeah. Like one of the things that I really like is when someone's very aware of the style that they embody when they're in disagreements, when they're in personal conflict,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Like, I am very aware that I have a very defensive, I'm aware I have a very defensive communication style, especially when I feel cornered, because I have felt cornered for so much of my life that I kind of like throw up really, really spiky walls, you know? And I know that about myself, and it changes how I approach these conversations. So, like, being able to know what kind of arguer, disagreeer you are and communicate that to your partner is such a green flag to me. And so knowing that your partner is not going to break up with you or hate you or leave you or start trash talking you after you know, voice your feelings is so important.
It really is. And
knowing they won't hold a grudge.
one of the things is like actually allowing me to correct a mistake I made. If I did violate a boundary, accidental or pressure or whatever, given the opportunity to then make it up, like to correct my mistake, to like just be like, all right, so you've made a mistake. Are you going to take the steps to correct it? If so, then we can actually move on instead of it just being, well, you messed up, so you've been the bad person forever.
Right. Like, okay, so thinking about some healthy boundaries that, you know, I can see in other relationships and in mine and things like that. I think one is like having a night that is set aside for yourself.
Yes.
Like, no matter what nights you want to spend with other people, managing a night that is for yourself, even if it's like, it doesn't have to be a night every week, one night a month, you know, where you're like, I do not do anything on the 27th because that is my day, you know, or whatever it may be. Another one that I find to be like really green flag-y is when people are able to have breaks in conversation without feeling like it's the end of the world, like being able to let things ebb and flow in healthy ways instead of feeling like you're glued to your phone or they're gonna melt down.
Now, treating asynchronous communication as asynchronous is also a very nice thing. I'm not just saying like drop out in the middle of a heated discussion and disappear, because that's just also manipulative, but being like, hey, you know, if I don't immediately respond, this is why, or like, hey, I'm about to go do this thing, so I'm going to be quiet for a while. But that doesn't mean that I'm mad at you, I'm sullen, I'm quiet, I'm upset. This just means that, hey, we need to put a pin in this and come back. Like, that's a good thing to be able to do.
Yeah, and some people might be like, oh, that's managing other people's emotions too much. No, it's being respectful of the fact that some people have like rejection sensitive dysphoria. Some people have trauma and stuff like that. So like figuring out what works for your partner and like what level of disclosure gives them the like peace and comfort that you feel they deserve
Exactly.
is so crucial. You know, like there's so many small things that we can do to make our partners feel more secure. And a lot of times it has to do with strong boundaries. Like if you're setting strong boundaries, things are going to feel more secure. But if you're constantly like wavering on your own boundaries, your partners aren't going to feel secure about the boundaries around your relationship.
Exactly. And honestly, just communicating and being honest and like trying to address things before they become problems it's so huge. It's dramatically different and extremely nice to just have someone be genuine and honest about and make room for you to be genuine and honest. It's a really nice thing.
Okay, so like I just want to give one last boundary for me that I love to see in people is when they can be open and honest about their emotions. They're being impacted by other things, but making that effort to like keep time together special, yada yada, whatever it may be at that time. Like being like, hey, me and someone are having an argument. Like, you don't have to tell your other partner that you're arguing with your meta. Like, you don't want to be poisoning your partners against each other. But just saying like, hey, I'm a little bit in some personal disagreement with a friend of mine and it's on my mind. I want to talk about it to this degree, or I don't want to talk about it, or whatever that may be.
But also, I'm not upset at you. Even if I'm upset, I'm not upset at you.
And I want to make efforts to make our time together special, or to make this phone call special. But if you see me like staring off into space, or if I suddenly go silent, I am so sorry to be distracted during our time together.
Exactly. And just to giving people space to do that.
Yeah, just because something is on the forefront of someone's mind at the time doesn't mean it's more important.
Yeah.
So like taking that half step back is so fucking crucial.
And honestly, I think another thing I'm thinking about is giving someone trigger warnings. Not just about like, hey, I'm about to talk back at this topic, you can back out or we can reschedule if you'd like, but also just being like, hey, you talking about this, I actually have some completely unrelated to you trauma about this particular topic. Could you please censor it, remove it, or, spoiler it, or only bring it up knowing that it's bringing up sensitive feelings, like knowing that someone is like setting a line like, hey, if you talk about this, it's going to upset me. So you can be cautious and deliberate about either not bringing that up or bring it up so carefully is really nice.
Yeah, and like trusting that someone can be introspective enough to recognize like when they're being triggered by something or whatever, when they need to take a step back to think about something, etc. Is so good, because like, say, you're having a fairly calm conversation with a partner or whatever, but then you say a joke in a tone that is wrong, or maybe you make a joke that like was something that they were bullied with specifically when they were younger, and like that person can take that personally and stew and fester and get snappy and angry, or they can be like, hey, I know it wasn't your intent, but that struck a weird chord with me and I'd like for us to avoid it in the future. Don't feel bad. You didn't know, it wasn't intentional, but this is how I feel after that. And then your partner can like invite you to talk about it or not, or like be like, oh yeah, you want me to change the subject? Hey, look at that cute ass squirrel, like whatever you may need in the moment. And now I'm rambling. Anything else you want to say about these boundaries before I cue us out?
No, I agree to all these things. And I feel like the topic is turning out more to be communication and actually talking about what we like mean instead of setting boundaries. But they're related, and it's just yep. No, I'm
I
rambling
guess the
too.
topic
We're
here
dead.
would be like finding the safety to have uncomfortable conversations and how you foster that feeling of safety so that you can have those conversations that lead to growth.
Yes.
All right, Deem, I'm going to let you get to your stuff because we are quickly approaching your time, and I want to make sure you have some time between things that you got to do.
Bless you.
And also, it's almost Brian's Betty by time, so I can't keep yelling into this microphone.
Awesome.
All right. So, you are nameless, faceless, lost to the internet, correct? You do not want people to find you?
That's correct. I'm merely a sentient artificial intelligence that you have summoned to your podcast.
Yeah, I got this AI with trauma. It was on discount, and it keeps talking about board games for some reason. I don't remember feeding it that information.
Yeah,
but it's got a real cool mohawk though.
Thank
so
you. I just dyed it blue today.
Meta More Than You Bargained For is a production of Roll to Finish LLC. I've been your host, Lynn Lawless, and our producer, editor, and all-around badass was Sloan Abbott. We got a audio engineer, Kel Fernandez. You can follow us on most social medias at MetamorePod and post your stories to our subreddit by the same name. If you need some advice on a sticky situation, or you really just want to brag about how great your polyamorous communist thingy is going, please send us the good stories, send us the bad stories, send us the funny as fuck stories to metamorpod@gmail.com. And if you think you are a fucking comedian, leave us a really funny 5-star review on your favorite podcasting platform, and we might read it, on the podcast. So you'd be famous for like 2.5 seconds, and that's more than most people can say. Keep being messy, but keep being kind. Have a wonderful night.
Take care, everyone.